So you want to beat procrastination. Generally, people tell you things like, just stop being lazy, become more disciplined. But that won't fix procrastination. It'll just bury you in stress and drag you into depression. However, beating procrastination is easy actually, if you understand the key behind it. When you say you want to beat procrastination, what you really want is to spend less time overthinking every little detail. You want to try out new things in life without constantly worrying about failing. You want to be focused in reaching a goal that you love and care about. And you want to do things now instead of always waiting until the last possible moment. So what do? You go to the first place that crosses your mind when thinking about where to find the greatest collection of human wisdom and knowledge. YouTube. There you find millions of videos with general advice like stop being a perfectionist, manage your time better, or minimize distractions. Yeah, that sounds great for successful people like Cristiano Ronaldo or Oprah. However, you're already finding yourself getting distracted by the blank wall that's in front of you. So next you go on the internet to look for more specific advice, like plan your time using the Pomodoro technique, or plan to give yourself a reward after each task you complete. But let's face it, if you had the required minimum amount of self-control to actually wait to eat an entire chocolate bar like this until you finish your task, you also wouldn't watch this video instead of writing that essay that's already 3 weeks overdue. The problem is, most people treat procrastination like it's just a synonym for being lazy. So they try to fight it head on, thinking just learning the right trick or life hack will make them stop procrastinating. But in reality, they're just wasting their time and energy, and that might make it even worse. The truth is, no successful person ever beat their procrastination and reached their goal in life by simply taking 5-minute breaks every 20 minutes of working. Not even Cristiano Ronaldo. I'm not saying that tricks like these can't be helpful to become more productive. However, beating procrastination for good isn't just about becoming more productive. It's about having courage and desire to reach your goals. It's about learning how to embrace failure and to focus on trying instead of succeeding. And it's about creating a clear goal and vision, strong enough to not make you immediately give up when faced with fear and self-doubt. I know that might sound like complicated and vague advice, but keep watching and you'll see that acquiring these two things is easier than you think. Let's start by understanding the real reason why you procrastinate. Let's look at something you usually go to great lengths to hide from the outside world. Your browser history. Just kidding. Your protection mechanisms. You probably think you're just sabotaging yourself when you procrastinate, but the truth is, you're actually protecting yourself with possibly the greatest protection method your mind could ever come up with. What you really want is to be seen as a smart, capable, and successful person, and you achieve this by procrastinating. Don't believe me? Imagine this. You've got a super important exam coming up, one that could seriously impact your grade. But instead of studying, you spent the whole day deep diving into whether humanity could trigger an earthquake if everybody jumped at once. Important stuff, obviously. After the exam, you meet your friend in the hallway. Hey man, how did you do in the exam? Not so well, but you know, I only studied for it like 2 hours, so it's okay. How about you? Same man, I didn't study at all, but for not studying, I actually did way better than I expected. Now here's the magic trick procrastination just pulled for you. You might not have done great, but it's not your fault. You just didn't study, so no reason to feel dumb. And even better, if you did okay, then wow, you must be really smart for pulling that off with preparing so little beforehand. So great, you achieved your goal. People see you as smart and capable, or at least they don't see you as someone stupid. And the secret weapon that made all this possible? Studying hard? Planning your time well? Nope, it was procrastination. By waiting to the last possible moment to start preparing for the test, you've succeeded in obtaining a guaranteed get out of ruining your self-esteem excuse card that you can redeem towards yourself and the people you care about as often as you like. If you fail, you didn't really try. And if you succeed, you're just naturally gifted. And you know what's even better? No matter how difficult or scary the task is, it always works. You're too afraid of not getting the job after your interview? Just wait until the last possible moment to prepare for it. If you receive a rejection, it was just because you've simply lacked the time to prepare well for it, besides all the things you have going on in your life. And if it so happens they accept you, even better, you can say, I just winged it. I didn't even prepare for it. I guess I'm just built different than the rest. It even works if there isn't an official deadline given. Want to ask out that cutie pie you've had a crush on, but you're too scared that a rejection might make you look bad? Just wait until you come up with a good pickup line. And then wait until you achieve a good physique you can impress her with. And then wait some more time until you have your degree, a good job, and your life is finally in order. And then, oops, yeah, she's already dating someone else. But hey, at least you didn't get rejected, right? You're probably already starting to see a pattern. Whenever you have to perform, you use procrastination as a method that can protect your self-worth, no matter the outcome. Because somewhere deep inside you believe, if I try my best and still fail, maybe I'm not good enough. So it feels safer to never give it your all, to not try, and keep your ego safe. because being perceived as valuable for you means to perform good. However, performing good for you means to always be successful. And being successful for you means to never fail. And you care too much about performing good. The problem with this attitude is that you'll never be able to take any step towards reaching your goals, since there is always a chance that you might fail. The paradox, however, is that by trying to avoid to fail, you sooner or later definitely will fail, and then it might be too late to start over and try again. Imagine you're trapped on a sinking ship, but instead of trying to reach the rescue boats to save yourself, you're so afraid of dying that you're in your cabin staring at your wall and pretending everything is fine while you're slowly but surely reaching certain death. From an outsider perspective, this behavior doesn't make any sense. But procrastination paints you a different picture of reality, just because it's more comfortable than to deal with your fears. The only way to overcome this state is by developing a strong desire that you don't want to sink with the ship, no matter what. And by developing the right amount of faith and courage to be able to get up and go to those lifeboats, even if it means you fail and die trying. Desire, faith, and courage should be the fundament to beat procrastination. If those three factors are strong enough, other important characteristics needed to reach your goals are easy to obtain. When all of these factors are set in stone, you'll most likely automatically stop procrastinating. You'll probably even look forward to doing your tasks. So how can you build this fundament? Step number 1, recognize the pattern. When thinking about starting a task, try to be aware if you're already trying to come up with one of the following 5 common excuses. A. There's still plenty of time left. B. I'm just too busy now, I'll start later. C. I work better under pressure. D. I'll start when I feel motivated. Or E. I just need to do a few other things first. Whenever one of those excuses comes up, it's very likely that you're about to fall into an endless cycle of procrastination that looks like this. But if you catch yourself here, congratulations, you're already 50% closer to saving yourself. Step number 2. Remember what the work you're doing is for. Collect all the possible reasons why you want to complete the task you're procrastinating on. For example, you want to start a YouTube channel that deals with helping people resolve common issues they struggle with. Now you could start by listing the obvious reasons, but then also think about reasons that don't occur to you immediately, but could convince you to stay consistent over time. Step number 3. Name the fear that's holding you back. There is a saying that procrastination is not laziness, but it's fear dressed in comfy clothes. So go ahead and undress procrastination by naming what exactly you're afraid of. But please don't get too excited. Ask yourself, do I delay important tasks to avoid the risk of failing? And if so, write down what exactly you're afraid of. Here are some common fears that cause procrastination. Step number 4. Ask yourself, how much does failing matter in the long run? Or what's the worst thing that could happen? Once you've discovered what you're afraid of, ask yourself, if I fail in this task tomorrow, how much does it matter in the future? So, if you're thinking about asking out your crush, imagine having a conversation with your future self in 20 years. If it turns out that your future self is going to laugh at you and tell you something across the lines of, man, you shouldn't worry about this. There are way bigger things to worry about. You can safely say, it really doesn't matter. However, I would make sure to stop the conversation right there before they go off talking about zombie apocalypses and giant meteors. Step number 5. Create a practice mode identity. If you figured out the worst thing that could happen if you fail, and you know it's nothing in the lines of, it can wipe out your entire existence, it can threaten or hurt someone else, or it will make you end up as someone who does inspirational posts on LinkedIn, you can see failing literally just as a step to practice for finally succeeding. Let's say you're preparing for a job interview. You already described your fear and you know that getting rejected for a job wouldn't mean that you end up on the streets having to sell your kidneys. However, as soon as you start to prepare, stress builds and self-doubt comes up. You're already telling yourself, I need to succeed. Stop yourself right there and say out loud, I'm just practicing. If I fail tomorrow, I'll be closer to succeeding next time. It takes the pressure off your mind of having to succeed, making you feel less stressed and able to concentrate on the things that really matter. Step number 6. Create a goal, a deadline and a plan. Specify an exact goal you want to reach, with an exact deadline and a plan. So if your goal is to become a big YouTuber, don't just say you want to have a lot of subscribers, specify an exact number. Like you want to have 100,000 subscribers. And then specify the exact date when you want to reach it. Pick an ambitious but realistic date, like 1 year from now. The plan to reach it should be defined as concise and specific as possible, and you should be able to start with it now, without having to wait for some requirement to be fulfilled. So let's take another example. You want to get a good grade in the upcoming math exam. First, let's specify an exact grade you want to reach. Remember, it should be ambitious, but also realistic. Then, specify a date when you want to obtain it. Here you have it easier since you already have a deadline. And last, describe exactly how you want to reach it in a concise plan. This could be steps like practice at least 5 exercises each day, or study for at least 2 hours every day. Step number 7. Create desire and faith for reaching your goal. Sit yourself down and read your goal and your plan out loud multiple times. Now imagine you've already achieved the goal and try to focus on the exact feeling that it gives you. To create faith, tell yourself something like, it is 100% certain that I'm gonna reach my goal. Nothing can stop me. Not even Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson storming my house with an entire SWAT team. If you repeat this step every morning and evening, it keeps your mind on the goal, and over time you can turn your goals into desires that can make your mind obsessed with reaching them. Step number 8. Do the smallest possible action. Ask yourself, what's the tiniest action I could do right now that moves me closer to completing my task? This is especially important if you struggle to get started and stay motivated. You probably already know that motivation leads towards action. However, did you know that the opposite is also true? Engaging in a certain action can lead towards you feeling more motivated. You can think of it as an ever-repeating cycle of action and motivation. Even the smallest action can fuel your motivation. The motivation housed from that can then be used to engage in an even bigger action. It's a snowball effect, where your motivation and actions will grow more and more as the cycle is repeated. For example, if your goal is to clean your entire room, even a tiny action like throwing your dirty socks in the bin can give you enough motivation for engaging in a bigger action afterwards, like vacuum cleaning your floor. The key is to understand that doing any work is always better than doing no work at all. So even if studying 10 minutes for a math exam seems too long for you, set a timer to 5 minutes. Step number 9. Track courage, not success. If you want to beat procrastination in the long run, you need to establish a mindset that promotes courage instead of success. You can do this by tracking courage instead of wins. At the end of each day, ask yourself, did I act despite fear today? And if so, note it down. Put it in your list when you were able to do a first step even though you were scared. Don't focus on the outcome. Focus on how often you were able to overcome fear. Over time, you will shift your focus from having to succeed to having to try. Step number 10. Repeat the process over and over again. Rome wasn't built in a day, and neither procrastination isn't beaten in a single day. Repeat those 10 steps every day. Every time a new task comes up and you start looking for excuses instead of taking decisions. Don't feel miserable if you can't stop procrastination immediately. That's normal. Make it a habit to apply those 10 steps every day. You'll see you will procrastinate less and less over time, and there won't be need anymore to procrastinate watching another video about procrastination. Anyway, to fund my next video, please leave a donation here by tapping the like button and subscribing. Thanks a lot.